Hello Struckweb, today I'll do a quick overview on patch 1.02 Invasion. I'll be showing some videos of me playing the new content as well as the patch notes for each class. Then I'll do some discussions regarding what changed for each class. Feel free to skip any segment that you are not interested in if you're not playing a specific character, for example, or if you don't want to watch some of the gameplay footage. So I will first show some of the patch notes, general patch notes on the screen. Then I will move on to discussing the whole mechanic of the new system, the new invasion system. As this is going on, you will be able to see and read some of the patch notes, the general ones, and then once I'm done showing this, I'll just move on to showing you all of the characters and what changed with them. I could not farm one of the green items, they do seem to be quite rare, the new rarity. I did try doing some Chaos 7, but I think Chaos 7 really needs some good green gear and a rework of the builds. But later on when I do get, I will try and show it. Now let's quickly discuss the invasion. When it comes to the invasions, you have the first thing that you might notice is the ranks. Currently you have a selection of 10 ranks unlocked by default and you can go all the way to rank 15. And selecting a different rank would wipe your current progress on your current rank and will start over from scratch. You would probably either want to start somewhere from the middle, start from the bottom, or just like me start from rank 10, see how it goes. As you complete those missions, you would keep unlocking some completion bonuses different to each tile on the map, on the tree. So as you see, I have 45% extra damage to enemies, 45% maximum health. All of that is applied to my enemies, so they have more damage and more health, but I also gain 100% extra wood. The rank increases, I think, the difficulty and the bonuses you can get. So if you look at those trees, those are some bonuses you can get for yourself or for the enemies. Here we can get corruption resistance, here we can get resistance to poison damage. Then we can reduce the enemy's armor or the enemy's HP. On this side you can see there's those three skills that you can see in the skill tree. Duelist Chain, Veteran's Chain Reaction and Scout Chain Reaction. So those skills are unlocked if you go that way. Then on this way, kind of like this side, there's different bonuses to the players and to the enemies. Again, corruption resistance and resistance to physical damage this time instead of poison. And again, armor and damage applied to the enemy, whereas here we had armor reduction and health reduction. Now, if we go that way, we can fork into two different paths. One of them would be corruption resistance, the other one would be resistance to fire damage, and then there's a reduction of the armor of our enemies. On this side we can get resistance to magic damage, reduction to the armor of the enemies, and as I've already unlocked this, corruption resistance applied to the player. In between those nodes you would have some normal fights where you just fight regular enemies, and as you can see, as the nodes go down, the difficulty goes up from normal, then it goes to Chaos 2, then it might go back to something easier, but as you can see it's Chaos 3 here, Chaos 3, Chaos 4, but that Chaos 4 and that Chaos 3 wouldn't feel like the normal Chaos 3, or not at least like it felt before the update. You can see there's even some Chaos 5 nodes here, so this will be interesting and difficult to fight. So let's keep checking what we can unlock. Here we can unlock additional health reduction to the enemies, additional damage reduction to the enemies. Then here Elixir of Swiftness, I'm assuming this gives us movement speed or cooldown reduction or something, it doesn't specify. And here we have Elixir of Power. We can unlock this and put it in our affinity slots, in our passive slots. Not a bad option. And then there's this thing here. So those are kind of modifiers applied to using a potion. Here again, reduction to the enemy's health, reduction to the enemy's damage. And something that's really nice is that reward here. You get 3 different rings you can work towards. This is Ring of Resonance, Ring of Shadow and Ring of Dexterity. I'm assuming this would probably be worth it for mages, this would be worth it for maybe crits or dodging or something like that. It remains to be seen. I'll try to unlock it as soon as I can. And this is a Ring of Shadow. I'm assuming maybe this would be the damage, this would be the evasive, and this would be some magical things, like maybe cooldown or something. So as I said, you go down the nodes, they grow in power, and different nodes have different encounters. You can have a normal regular map with kill enemies, then kill the boss, then leave. Sometimes it will be just kill the boss and leave. This is a Bloodthirster fight. So this is a boss fight. Then sometimes you have swarms. The swarm, I believe, was a wave of enemies where they just like spawn 1 or 2 or a few waves. You kinda have to survive through it and then leave the area once you kill everyone. But you don't have to run around, it's just a circular arena where you fight. I had one of those here, I think. Somewhere, I'm not sure exactly where. Ah, Known Invasion. This one I think was like that. Champion of Corn. This is probably just a boss fight, but with a champion. So you have a map, you have to go to the end of the map, kill the champion. There was this really fun map, Shifting Labyrinth. There weren't any enemies, there were just flying meteors and you kinda had to go through them. You're seeing the recording of this video as I speak now. So you kinda have to dodge, keep moving through the map, find a portal, it teleports you on a random place of the map. As you can see, hero's maximum health decreases over time and there is no map for orientation. So you kinda have to blindly teleport or move around or dodge. So Realm of Chaos Assault. This might have been something like a normal map. But what I've seen, there's like normal maps, boss fights, swarm fights or like survival modes, and this weird labyrinth. There's probably bound to be more difficult and different types of maps. There were some ones that said map walked, like this one. It said map walked need level etc. This was level 30. And when I clicked it, nothing happened, it just moved next to this node. So something similar would be happening here. You click it and if you're level 50 you can move on and proceed to the next part. So even if you try to level up with those, you need specific levels before you can proceed. So this needs 50,000 gold to unlock, this needs 200 fragments of each color to unlock to move to the next point. You need 10 gold fragments to unlock this mission and so on. So basically if you want to proceed you have to pay some fee to walk next parts of the map. That kind of sorts it out. You might want to pay attention to what type of enemies you're fighting, so you can decide which way you want to go first. I decided I would go first towards this way and then go down here. On my rogue, on my Elessa, I started going towards here so I can grab this skill here, mostly for that crit hit damage. But we'll see how it goes. Probably you would want to start easy with rank 1, see if you can complete it and then move on up the ranks instead of going rank 10 like me straight off the bat. On the mage side, some things have changed and have been shifted in regards to the god skill tree. You can see here right before Arcane Secrets, Aether Blast Superior replaced what used to be Etheric Storm Superior. can see Aether Blast is now here and here instead of on those two places as well. So if someone was building towards Etheric Storm or Aether Blast, they would have to probably redo their builds. It doesn't take much, it's 1275 fragments from each kind. And you also have to pay attention to some of the notes. I think some of the damages and things like that kind of changed. So there are some changes. Maybe for the better, maybe for worse, it just has to be seen. I personally really like it the way it is now, because I've been having difficulties getting those notes and at the same time getting Aether Blast. And I'm not a big fan of Etheric Storm. The cooldown is too long. So it probably does belong here where the cooldown reduction tree is. Maybe it will be better, we'll see about that. Because yeah, if it's on this side, you can get this note and this note, and you can get that extra 10% cooldown reduction. Whereas if you're playing with something like Aether Blast, you probably don't need that much cooldown reduction and you can go for a build like I've done. I was not using in my Blinker build, I was not using Etheric Blast. Now, of course, I don't have enough points because I haven't farmed much, and I also died a lot on the invasions while testing out stuff. But later on, I'll try to rework my skill tree for my tanky mage build, for my fire mage build, because the teleporter build is nice and everything, but probably not as good DPS wise as my Breath of Fire build. As my build with this set, Morvel's Great Helm instead of the Belcoradris set. When it comes to the passives, something that could work well is the option to add new different passives here. Instead of just vanity skills, you can add more passives, so you can just downgrade some of your main skills, or if you had some spare skill points to use, you can put more passives here. Like as you can see, I've put one more passive in this build, and I've added 2 vanity skills. You can see there's a total of what is it, 11 vanity collectors guild skills. There's also the stronger potions and invasion skills that you can obtain and work within your build. It is a good change, I believe, and it will be interesting to see how some of the builds I've made would change with this specific rework of the God tree. Now let's check what the Wood Elf got in regards to patch notes. So for the Wood Elf, let's see what changed. I'm seeing that the Fire's Reckoning is still here, and Seeds of Blood. I'm seeing Queen's Wrath still being in the same spot. The same goes for Blessing of the Forest Mastered. This HP note is still here. What about the HP regen notes? Did they say the same? I think they kind of stayed the same, so not much change here. What about those notes here? I am checking if any of the notes are giving something different, but if there are some changes, they're probably a bit different. Maybe this instead of 10% is 4% champion damage reduction. So they're kind of nerfing the damage reduction on those notes. And other things don't seem to have changed much. Oh, the crit damage kind of went up. Okay, so they're making us more glass cannon-ish, giving us more crit damage and nerfing the bonus damage to champions and the champion damage reduction. So kind of not worth going for champion based bonuses, be it bonus damage or damage reduction. Doesn't seem to be worth it since this got nerfed. So going for something that focuses on crit damage Would probably be good. I think they're trying to force people to keep experimenting with things that do not involve the executor's daggers. That's why they nerfed it. So probably going for some physical builds with the traps or things like that might be interesting. It will have to be seen and we'll know once we've tried it ourselves. So there aren't any serious changes here in regards to that, but with the gear there are some changes. As you can see, this dagger uh, is kind of different now. It is giving us less percent damage based on the health regen. So let's see how far I can get it with Guardian Spirit. Oh, I don't have Guardian Spirit. Yeah, I haven't equipped Guardian Spirit. Maybe I didn't have enough skill points for it. But even without Guardian Spirit, let's see Queen's Wrath. How much is my health regen? 25.2%. I did rework this build slightly, just added tactical retreat and some vanity skills. Just wanted to see how this tactical retreat with poison trail works. It doesn't seem to be really good, so maybe something else would be better. It will have to be tested. If I can try and find a way to get 3 more skill points to work this into the build, it would be a great choice. Maybe going down on the poison damage would be fine. Something like this. And then I can try and get that Guardian Spirit for extra damage reduction and health regen. Now we get all the way to 35.2% health regen, so this would be interesting. Now the damage is not as high as I could get it before, but 528 isn't a bad thing. It's not bad, it's good, it's worth it. Things changed in regards to the amulet. The amulet kind of works differently now. It tells us how much cooldown time is reduced on the potion and how less healing the potion is doing. So they kind of really did change this specific amulet, and on my mage the one I was using was also the same. It was faster cooldown for the potion and the potion healing less HP. Other things didn't change much. As you can see, God skills deal more damage. This is an interesting new thing. I saw that in my mage as well. Heals when a God skill is used, so this is also very nice. What God skills can you use here with this character? You have Queen's Wrath, Devourer's Reckoning, and you could probably try and use something like what else could work. I don't think something like this would work much because it's a passive, so it won't proc, but you have two active god skills that you can use in your build just to get some extra healing. This is not bad for many builds that are relying on spamming god skills. It will probably really work well with Pistolier build or Heaven's Rat build or whatever it was called. I'll check it in a moment once I'm checking the warrior build. So for this character, I think it's pretty nice what they've done. They did nerf executors, but that's fine, it was overpowered anyways. On the bow side, I don't think anything changed much. Yeah, they seem to be giving the exact same things as before. Thankfully they fixed the trap passive. I haven't tested it, but let me quickly just check it. So placing one trap, and now let's try place a second one. Yeah, it's fixed now. You can place two of those and probably three of the other one. which will add a total of 9 traps there, because it places 3 per use. So decent changes, interesting shifts in the builds for all classes. Here I had to kinda replace my Master Archer for Sure Flight Arrow. I end up having to regain my energy more often, so maybe it's not as good, but we'll see. So for Bragi, let's start off with the God skill tree. Let's review what changed, what didn't. Those nodes kind of seem as the other characters. The champion damage and damage reduction got nerfed by 60%. So now I only have 8% instead of 20, and my damage reduction is 4% instead of 10. So this didn't change, this is still the same as it was before, those nodes here. What about those nodes? Did they change much? A lot of crit damage, so taking those crit damage nodes now would stack up to a decent amount and also give you some armor piercing. That's 25, 25 and another 25, that's just 75% more damage reduction, so it would be good to get even if you stop here, it would be good to get those nodes, and you can sacrifice this 25% crit damage and minus 10 health. So you can lose 50% crit damage, but you can end up winning some. You can lose that armor piercing if you want to. In addition to this, this didn't seem to change. This was a possible option for me before. So yeah, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. It's interesting rework. I still have Ancestor's Gift and I still have Mountain's Wrath. Ancestor's Gift 2 and 3 are on the same spot. Mountain's Wrath is on the same spot, the number 3. So if we go for the number 3, there's a lot of cost reduction, max energy. I think the max energy kinda got bumped. So there is an interesting max energy build for this class. Probably. It will have to be seen. But yes, I'll probably get rid of those nodes here. That's gonna give me 10% max HP. And then if I get rid of that armor piercing, I can get 3 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would need to find from some place another 2 points to get that extra crit damage. Or I can just do something like this. Get that 25% crit damage and lose this 25% crit damage and then have 4 points to invest. 1, 2, 3, 4 points. And I can do 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way to here, but that still won't be enough. I would still need 2 more. So it's probably just getting rid of this crit damage to get this crit damage. But then I'll still have to get rid of something else. It's kind of difficult to work it out, because there is something that needs to go, some other skill point. I mean, if I get rid of this, it's kind of gonna be okay. But that means I'm losing extra crit hit damage after killing a champion, extra 50%. So would it be enough to get those 50% from here all the time? Maybe it will be. Maybe it will be because, look, I'm losing 25% crit damage, but I'll also be losing some armor piercing. I'm not sure if it's worth the sacrifice. This is 10% armor piercing and 25% crit damage and another 2% armor piercing, just to get that extra 50% crit damage and that 25 to cover for this 25, and then I get that 2% armor piercing back, but I don't get the 10% back. It will probably be better though. I would suggest removing those 3 and those 3 and trying to remove this one here just to keep that cooldown reduction. And then going for that extra damage. Maybe even getting rid of this passive would be okay. And instead of going the route for this passive, I can invest somewhere where I would get some more crit damage or energy or whatever. I can probably deal without that extra 4% cooldown reduction, was it, or 6%. I can just use this one with the 2% and ignore the others. It will be tested later when I play tonight. But yeah, I think this really needs to be reworked to get more out of the build with the nerf. Conrad did get hit seriously if you were using the Skaven Killer set. Some skills were moved and placed on the other end. So as you can see, Sigmar's Rat was moved and placed here. Before there was Sigmar's Blessing mastered in that spot. And Sigmar's Rat Superior was replaced, I think, with Sigmar's Blessing 1. So now you can either use Sigmar's Rat Superior and Sigmar's Blessing Mastered with my build, or I can use Sigmar's Blessing and Sigmar's Rat Superior. Kind of not the best thing, but it's not so bad. So they did put Sigmar's Blessing Superior here, which I was using before. It was decent, it wasn't bad. Now the mastered version, I'm not sure whether it's something I would prefer using, but it will just remain to be seen. Of course there are changes to the damage bonus and damage reduction to champions. There are improvements to crit damage. As you can see, this is 26%, it probably was 10% before, so it's not 25 but 26 for this class even. So my build kind of didn't get hit seriously. I can probably return it to the way I was using it before, like all the way to this node. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nodes. But then I would have to get rid of some block chance and block damage, and share rations mastered maybe would need to go. I'm not sure what I was using on my number 1. Was it break through the ranks? No, that was here. Pistolier was here. Something is missing, and that's probably my taunt. Taunt mastered. Am I not wearing full set? Did they change the bonus on the set? Okay, Justice of the Empire is improved, Taunt isn't. With Sowan's Fate Breastplate. This is very strange, but they want to force us to use different skills, which is kind of okay. We'll see how it goes. I really didn't want to use Sowan's Justice of the Empire with this set, but maybe it will be fine. I did try it, it wasn't so bad before. Still have 4 skill points that I can place in something. Nerfing the Skaven Killer Breastplate, I'll show you, is probably not so bad because, yeah, you don't get an extra heroic banner, but that's not a problem. You get an extra heroic shield smash. You shouldn't rely on this overpowered heroic banner combined with heroic pistolier in anyways. I was expecting a nerf to that Skaven Killer Breastplate because it seemed the only set worth picking over the others if you wanted to be meta. Now they're kind of trying to balance things out to make the weaker sets better and the more powerful sets a bit weaker. This is where the taunt went. It went to the Meteoric Iron Breastplate. Let's try equipping this Meteoric Iron Breastplate just to check how it will be. What else got changed? The helmet is missing, okay. Meteoric Iron. So here we have the improved taunt, and we can kind of still try to use something like Pistolier maybe. But this is kind of a counter-attack damage centered set now. But it's not bad, it seems good. What about the meteoric iron shield? The physical damage was increased, it was before around 200-300, now it's 3000, so 10-fold increase. What about the other shields? This isn't bad if you're going for the counter-attack damage bonuses, but still counter-attack damage wasn't that good before. But with this set maybe it will be. So it remains to be seen. I'll keep experimenting with this set as well. But this set probably wouldn't be bad with Pistolier. I'll have to test it and let you guys know. Tonight I'll be streaming and testing builds, checking what works well with what. In the meantime, probably something that might be taken for those extra 4 skill points would be some extra damage for counter attack if you're using this set, or maybe this extra tireless isn't a bad option. Tireless is also good if you use a lot of skills with cooldown, and many builds for this class do. This isn't bad if you wanna play around with the new potions. And for the god skills, you probably would need to work things out if you wanna add a god skill into the build. That's different than share rations. You can try and get share rations in, but you need to downgrade one of the other skills, which isn't a bad choice. I was using Divine Judgment Mastered and now I can't, so this is what changed. Divine Judgment Superior is here. Oh yeah, Divine Judgment Mastered is there. So instead of having the build be broken, I'll fix this. I won't cheat it out with that extra 5%. I'll do that, and then I can probably put share rations 6 points, get that extra energy gain. Although if you're using improved taunt you probably won't need it, but if you want to do something else you can add a skill for 10 points, such as Tireless 2, Tireless Superior, or go for this one. So there are very good options now that you can try and build around. This is also not bad for this set. Extra 50% armor piercing for the counter-attack damage. So it will be interesting to see what everyone would come up with. I will be looking forward to people telling me in the comments what they've decided to experiment with, and just in general to see how this is making everyone rework their builds. For the amulets, god skills deal extra damage would be nice if I were using any. As you can see, I'm not. I'm using just those. So maybe for Sigmar's Rat this would be nice, but that's only 20%. And maybe heals when a god skill is used would be better for this class, because you have Sigmar's Rat and Sigmar's Blessing. So when you're using those, you would kind of keep healing yourself. Another thing is god skills deal more damage. Okay, another thing, hitting an enemy has a chance to reduce the cooldowns and grant energy. So now this also grants energy, so this is kind of okay. The rings didn't seem changed. Let's check again. Maybe something is changed, I've missed it. Yeah, the rings kind of seem okay. They seem the same as they were before. So there are some serious changes, but in general, nerf to the Skaven Cure and switch around and hopefully buff of the other two sets. I'll experiment tonight and let you guys know later in my videos. Thank you again for watching this video of mine. If you like it, you can let me know by hitting the like and subscribe buttons or just leaving me a comment regarding what you like, what you don't like, what you would want to see in future videos. I will try to do my best to do videos that the people that watch my channel want to see. If you want to see specific builds, to let me know, I'll comply. In the meantime, you can check the following sequence for my social media links, or you can just refer to the description below the video.